The urinary system is discussed in Chapter 11 of the textbook. And the urinary system consists of the two major organs that perform its function, which are the kidneys. There are two ureters, here and here. The urinary bladder, and then the urethra is a single tube that exits the bladder. The major functions of the urinary system include regulation of body fluid composition. Mainly this would be the blood and the interstitial fluid that surrounds all of the tissues of the body. Also, formation of urine, and this is actually the result of the first function that I mentioned, regulation of body fluids. Key terms related to the urinary system are listed here. So the first one is an electrolyte. This is a mineral salt that has an electrical charge, and here are a few examples. Filtrate is fluid that passes from blood through capillary walls in the nephron. Nitrogenous waste is a product of protein metabolism. Examples of nitrogenous wastes that do get filtered by the kidneys are ammonia, urea, and creatine. The peritoneum is the lining of the abdominopelvic cavity. Peristalsis, I mentioned this term with the digestive system. This involves smooth muscle contractions in a hollow organ that force material or fluids forward. pH is a value that expresses the alkalinity or acidity of a solution. And plasma, remember we discussed this when we talked about blood. This is the liquid portion of blood that is filtered by the kidneys to remove wastes. The kidneys themselves are roughly the size of a fist, and they are the shape of a kidney bean, as you can see here. These two organs are located slightly above the waistline. They are retroperitoneal, which means that they're located behind the peritoneum. They are not enclosed within the peritoneum like most of the other abdominopelvic organs. And there are two main regions within the kidney. When you cut it open, you can see the renal cortex is the outer region that's shown in a lighter color here. And the renal medulla is the inner region where you see these triangular shapes. Blood supply in and out of the kidneys involves two major blood vessels. Actually, I'm going to go back so you can see these. The renal artery is shown in red. This carries blood into the kidney, and the renal vein is shown here in blue that carries blood out of the kidney. So now on this next slide, you can see a nephron. Nephrons are structures that filter blood to remove excess waste products. These nephrons are microscopic structures, and there are millions of these located within each kidney. So these are what really perform the function of the kidneys. Every nephron has two parts. It consists of the renal corpuscle, which is shown right here. This is the glomerulus, which is in red. It's like just a ball of capillaries, a big mass of capillaries. And the Bowman's capsule or glomerular capsule, which surrounds it. The rest of the nephron is called the renal tubule. So it's this long tube that kind of coils and loops around. The formation of urine involves 3 steps. First step is filtration. This is when substances from the blood are forced across the walls of the capillaries. So that would be the capillaries of the glomerulus into the renal tubule. At this point, blood cells and most proteins are removed from blood during filtration. The second process is reabsorption, and during this step, substances like water, electrolytes, and amino acids are returned to the blood as filtrate travels through the renal tubule. And then lastly, secretion occurs. This is when substances are secreted from the blood into the filtrate as it travels through the renal tubule. So it's traveling in this direction through the tubule. And waste products are often secreted, such as ammonia and uric acid. So now on the next slide, you can see the other structures that are part of the urinary system. The ureters are these two tubes that exit each kidney, and they carry urine down into the urinary bladder, which is shown here. This is a hollow organ that stores urine. And then the urethra is a single tube that carries urine out of the bladder to the outside of the body.